So, are they beer goggles or fear goggles? Let's get to the bottom of your glasses. And it's time for another unbuckled bumpy ride with your guide, the stark raving LEAN-atic himself. I'm Jim. Let's jump right in again. Welcome to my podcast based on my brand new book, available on Amazon, Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N. It's a year-long guide to gratitude and our daily grind. The book that combines some timeless wisdom from a whole lot of the world's wiser people with the reflections, reactions, and wisecracks of the guide's author, me. And it guides you, the reader, through the simplest system for a happy, healthy, authentic, and genuinely grateful everyday experience. I urge you to get the book. Of course I do. I wrote it. It's either at Amazon or at my website, ampurage.com. A-M-M-P-U-R-A-G-E. But even without it, let's make next week better than last, our next year better than the past, and get started now with today's episode of Beer Goggles versus Fear Goggles. Well, we all know what beer goggles are. How we see anything as possible, and us as the possible provables and pursuers, based on Pilsners and Pabst Blue Ribbon. But fear goggles. That's when we see things through fear goggles. Sometimes fears are just human intelligence overestimating its own abilities. Listen again. Sometimes fears are just human intelligence overestimating its own abilities. When we make up what we think makes sense. But does our personal makeup come from a place of scarcity, poverty, and paranoia that filters out facts, filters in fears, and fades out any faith? Where's this all come from? How's about that whole vaccine thingy? Okay, I'm not espousing or trashing a specific position here. But the COVID vaccine discussion and debate dynamically demonstrates the differences that are driven by both beer and by fear. On one hand, you have the thank God, the thank Jesus, the thank the Pope, and thank the Fauci for the vaccine. Though I'm not sure of that buckshot approach to praising about the vaccine. Either way, some folks fear less because the vaccine honestly makes them feel fearless. It's like the Holy Grail and the Holy Guacamole all rolled into one major miracle. They can't wait to get it. Just give me a heap and helping extra of that, because that's how amazing I imagine it to be. No, not me, but I'm imagining them feeling this way. And then there's the fear goggles, where the vaccine is seen as merely a vehicle and a tool to implant microchips and add layers of big government and strip away freedoms. No, again, not what I'm arguing here. But I would argue that right now there's someone, or a bunch of someones out there listening, that could relate to one side of that argument way more than the other. And we may never know which side of the backyard fence the full truth is buried under. But odds are it's closer to being along the property line than it is, all on one side or the other. So why do we sometimes see it through our fear goggles so much? Well, because fear is a lot more instinctive to humans than beer is, or bravery. Reminds me of some great quotes. Quote unquote, I'm pretty fearless. And you know why? Because I don't handle fear very well. I'm not a good, terrified person. That was from Stevie Nicks. I guess fearlessness comes second nature to a one-winged bird. And another great quote, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That was from President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Forgive the accent there. And one further quote, fear is a gift. Gavin de Becker. What? Grabbing the big beer? Grabbing the beer? No. The author's name is Gavin de Becker. He's an author. Terrific book, The Gift of Fear. Look it up. But the key point here is that fear is instinctive. Beer and bravery is not. But fear, though instinctive, is not always relying on reality, but instead fear can be, well, follow this next final fear quote, please. Sometimes fears are just human intelligence overestimating its own abilities. Who said that? Well, the stark raving lunatic himself. Me. Whoa! Like so many polarizing positions that we postulate on, the vaccine is likely not going to save the world from itself. And it's likely not the way that we all will be mind controlled. At least one should hope not. Because truth be told, if there are powers that be powerful and persuasive enough to pull off a worldwide pandemic performance, well, how are you going to compete with that? Push comes to shove, huh? Nah. The fear that helps us fight is the fear that empowers us, not paralyzes us or paranoiafies us. I like that new word, paranoiafy. It's like making Google a verb, not a noun. I'm going to Google that crap. I hope they're not watching my every move, because that would be paranoiafying. Something like that. So, how do we see clear here? Well, out of the corner of our right eye, we see with beer goggles, like Travis Tritt, 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Or, here, hold my beer, which honestly is legendary, with like homemade shirts and signs all the way to Homer Simpson. And through the left eye, we filter through our fear goggles. Those conspiracy theories of the vaccine planting chips, euthanizing the elderly and the infirmed or the ethnically diverse. See, thing is, fear can serve us. Fear can help save us, or fear can enslave us. So when do we trust our gut to recognize powerful fear and filter out the paralyzing fear? Recognize when and if the fear in your head seems inbred and homegrown or implanted and enforced. Ask, is it true that, fill in the blank, and then listen for the answer. See, people say that you have to get to the underlying why of you being afraid. But what if you went your whole life never figuring that out? Is that how you want to spend your life? Sometimes our why is easy to find, and other times the why is buried layers and layers and years deep. Why you're afraid is valuable, but what you're afraid of can move you forward now, taking actions that lead you to a higher, stronger place, stronger perspective, and that makes the why less impacting and your outcome more important. Every human being has a mechanism that warns them of danger and allows them to get to safety. That mechanism is called fear. But, see, fear versus paranoia, well, paranoia can destroy you. That's a song lyric from the Kinks. But what once was paranoia now is seen through a different lens. You remember government contractor Edward Snowden? He released classified documents revealing the broad scope of U.S. government surveillance. Suddenly, fears that once seemed paranoid were decidedly rooted in reality. Paranoia and anxiety are common. They can be part of the typical range of human experience, or they can be signs of a serious mental health diagnosis. Drawing the line between normal fears, anxiety, and paranoia, that can be difficult. That's especially true when a person's apparently paranoid fear turns out to be true. Paranoia is persistent anxiety about a specific fear. When a person's fears are rooted in reality or reasonable, they're not paranoid. The challenge is determining which beliefs are reasonable and which are not. If the fear is so big and overwhelming and overpowering, but it kind of seems laser focused in a way that only you seem to fully understand all of its nuances, people just don't get it, or perhaps the fear is becoming a paranoia that no longer motivates you to take action and actually do something. Going back to that book, The Gift of Fear. The gift of fear is to motivate you to take action. And if you're afraid of something, keep it a fear, and only a fear, not a paranoia, by taking action and doing something about it. It helps it stay manageable and not become a paranoia, because paranoias are anxiety states based on a fear. And nothing's more anxiety producing than feeling powerless. So take action. Take action when the gain outweighs the pain. Take action Take action when we want to be free to do the things we want to do and don't want to be controlled by fear. Fear is a gift. It's a gift to motivate to action, not paralyze you into paranoia. But get good at seeing the difference between fear goggles and beer goggles. And both seem to be visible to our left and our right. Like Rocky IV. Stallone's Balboa was getting the Philadelphia fudge kicked out of him by the Siberian Express, nicknamed Death from Above, Ivan Drago. And Rocky's just schlumping on a stool between rounds. Rocky says, "I see 3 of them out there." And his corner coach says, "Well, hit the one in the middle." Don't trust beer goggles, but don't accept unquestionably fear goggles. Focus on the clear goggles, like when the optometrist who tries lens after lens after lens until what suits you becomes clear. Beer on the right, fear on the left. Dial in the diopter and find your clear goggles. And hit the one in the middle. And now, more words of wisdom to wow your socks off from the Live Life Lean Guide itself. Entry number 351. Do you know the difference between education and experience? Education is when you read the fine print. Experience is what you get when you don't. An unknown commentator. And the guide's point of view on this? Submitted for your approval. The droning on of dual-meaning terms and phrases intended to baffle, bewilder, and bore you into frustration. Just pressing the green button, you've entered into the accept terms zone. So what do you think about this? Using the Live Life Lean system, what have you learned recently that's new? What have you earned that wasn't simply handed to you? Where have you added to the world that's bigger than you? Now be grateful for that. Reflect on it, respect it, and navigate somewhere next. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying your copy of the Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N guide. Enjoying it almost as much as I did creating it. And if you don't have a copy yet, go on over to amperage.com or Amazon and get started today experiencing the amazing power of knowing every day is literally yours to be grateful about. And you need never feel unfulfilled again. I'm Jim Hall. And until next time, good health, God bless. And now, go get a little dirty learning something new. Earning what's not given to you. Adding to this crazy world that we share. And navigating your way to something new and next.